putting pedestrians first. This in whole traffic zones. A vision becomes reality. Experiences with pedestrian priority zones in Switzerland. 3 examples. Example 1. Burgdorf, a pretty little town in the center of Switzerland. Here, in the year 1996, the first pedestrian priority zone was established. It was then still planned as an experiment, and the people were first speaking of a kind of traffic zone for strolling.
I remember the first time visitors thought we are crazy in Burgdorf. They said our idea to put pedestrians first is a very queer idea. They also were feared. They imagined pedestrians running into cars. I always liked the idea very much. I am on the move a lot and I enjoy the fact to take precedence. But of course, I do never enforce precedence at all.
The traders have made good experiences. Very soon, they were not skeptical anymore at all.
Traders enjoy the advantage here. Customers behave free and easygoing. They really take time for strolling.
The traffic project was to solve a dilemma. The small town of Burgdorf evolved into a magnetic point for trade and culture. In this process, traffic became chaotic.
The client asked us to develop innovative solutions for traffic problems in the city. This also meant to legalize a type of behavior that has been observed. This indeed was the basis of our intervention.
Before the experiment with the new traffic zone, pedestrians had already conquered the road for themselves. They left the sidewalk and forced car drivers to pay attention to them. This unlawful behavior was then legalized in the pedestrian priority zone. Therefore, in Switzerland, soon a new term was coined. In Switzerland, pedestrian priority zones are well known as zones where people come into contact. The new traffic rules in pedestrian priority zones: upper speed limit 20 kilometers per hour, putting pedestrians first, and also no car parking, except on specially designated fields. These new rules first drove Bergdorf's car drivers into a corner.
They said there could be liability issues in case of an accident. The legal situation is unclear. It could be very expensive. Who is responsible? Who would have to respond in a court of law? All these questions were raised. This, incidentally, was our biggest risk.
The originally chaotic behavior of Bergdorf traffic members turned into a virtuous new tradition. All traffic members now look out for each other. The first pedestrian priority zone is alive.
What we need is a certain element of chaos for the thing to work. If there are not enough pedestrians, too few cyclists, too little traffic, the pedestrian priority zone doesn't work properly.
Let's have a look at the theory. Traffic rhythm originally in Switzerland. Zebra stripes sign pedestrian crossings. Pedestrians and also traffic members with vehicles move in sequenced rhythms. Stop and go, stop and go. Somebody always has to wait. Crossing is only possible in designated areas, and a lot of space remains unused. The traffic rhythm in pedestrian priority zones now. Traffic becomes a flow. The slow speed limits and the main rule, putting pedestrian first, force all members of the traffic to look out for each other. These factors lead to a rhythmic, continuous flow. Second example, Biel, a town more urban than Burgdorf. Locals speak both languages, Swiss German and French. This is very characteristic for Biel, and also the fact that this bilingual city is a center for the entire region. On this characteristic central square, beside a large number of individual traffic members, also a lot of public transport users use the same square to move on.
We are here at Central Square. What we wanted to do was give back the center of the city to the pedestrians. The pedestrian priority zone does exactly that. Since motorized traffic is slowed down to 20 kilometers per hour, all members of traffic play on a level field, empowering pedestrians and cyclists. It is like pedestrians conquered the city again, claiming it for themselves.
The pedestrian priority zone is now very well known in Biel. Locals and visitors are familiar with it. The square, with rhythmic continuous flow, has become a normal part of everyday life. People still speak of the zone where people come into contact. The new zone was to bring immediate advantage for pedestrians and for cyclists. The decision for a pedestrian priority zone on that square in Biel also triggered fears. Bus drivers especially were very skeptical at first.
The main opposition came from exponents of public transportation. Especially bus drivers were concerned about losing time, falling behind schedule, or that they would constantly have pedestrians in front of their vehicles. However, pedestrians look out for other members of traffic, especially for public transportation.
Normal are the specific rules for pedestrian priority zones. First rule, speed limit, 20 kilometers per hour. Second rule, putting pedestrians first. Pedestrians take precedence over motorized traffic members. Third rule, pedestrians are not allowed to hinder motorized traffic for any reason. Fourth rule, parking not allowed except on specially signaled and marked places. Beside that, the new rules have also improved safety for all members of traffic. This fact is shown in statistical numbers.
The situation has become a lot safer for pedestrians. Accidents are down 20%, and the number of injured people even 30. These are small numbers, however. We are talking 10 accidents in 5 years.
Here in Biel, the pedestrian priority zone has proven itself to be a good remedy. The central square is known as calm, open and comfortable for everybody. Therefore, the authorities plan to define more zones on the other traffic squares in town. Third example, pedestrian priority zone, also here.
The idea was to create an intimate area, almost like in a house. It is a carpeted area where you hesitate or feel bad to walk on it. It is a psychological barrier for car drivers. It is an area that belongs to the pedestrians.
Ein Gebiet, das dem Fußgänger gehört, ganz sichtlich dem Fußgänger gehört.
City Lounge. This is what the quarter here is called.
Das hat so gut funktioniert, dass
it worked so well that on the first weekend, a driver stopped her car to ask 2 police officers for permission to drive on the red carpet.
Genau vor dem Teppich stieg aus und fragte die Polizisten, ob sie darauf fahren dürfen.
St. Gallen. For Switzerland, St. Gallen is a big city. Many characteristic medieval buildings are in good condition. Also, historical factory buildings from the historic textile industry, beside a number of modern buildings, influence the architecture and culture of this city. Here, a pedestrian priority zone defines a whole quarter.
50 years ago, the Bleicherli was a nice area, but spoiled subsequently with ugly buildings and insensitive developments. Our idea was to create an identity, which was difficult because we also wanted to open it up to the other streets, to invite other quarters into the city lounge. In the end, we integrated all open space to form a point of identity, using a new way of furnishing the space. We realized that traditional ways of furnishing the streets didn't work. In the end, we integrated all open space to form a point of identity using a new way of furnishing the space.
Mit den normalen, üblichen Mitteln der Stadtmöblierung nicht möglich.
The streets themselves mutate to represent a work of art. This quarter, Bleicherli, is furnished as a lounge. The houses of the quarter appear to have been set down onto the carpet, on a red rubber carpet, and comfortable furniture invite visitors to relax in the middle of road traffic. This quarter is also an ideal example of a pedestrian priority zone. Local circumstances define the traffic allowed into the zone. For example, cars must be able to reach the car parks. Therefore, all kinds of traffic members move on that lounge-like pedestrian priority zone. And also, they follow the main rules. Again, speed limit 20 kilometers per hour. Pedestrians take precedence over motorized vehicles. They may not hinder motorized traffic for any reason. And no parking allowed except on specially marked places. Traffic moves calmly and carefully around people relaxing and around lounge furniture pieces. For the city of St. Gallen, this quarter is now one of its touristic attractions.
With this square, we created a new attraction for tourists. We attract people with an interest in architecture, design or traffic planning. We hope that they spend a lot of time in our city.
And they do remain for a while. Many people use the traffic square to relax in peace. In the year 2005, St. Gallen laid a red carpet into Bleicherli Quarter. Since then, the city lounge symbolizes rhythm and atmosphere of modern traffic design. Also, from the touristic point of view, the investment in that futuristic project has paid off. All the advantages simply with the main rule throughout the entire pedestrian priority zone: putting pedestrians first.